Welcome to the 2020 WhistleStop Winter Haven Virtual Hobnob. Welcome. My name is Katie Worthington Decker, and I am the President and CEO of the Greater Winter Haven Chamber of Commerce, and it is my privilege to be your MC for this video series. WhistleStop Winter Haven is traditionally an in-person event where members of the public can come together to shake hands and get to know the candidates that are on the ballot through one-on-one conversations. But as we all know, 2020 is a year to adapt, so we have pivoted this event to an online series of Zoom interviews. We certainly hope you take the time to listen to each of the candidates and learn a little bit more about them and what they stand for and while they're running. We have invited every candidate on the ballot in Polk County to participate, and we want to thank those candidates who did decide to do it. Full disclosure, the Winter Haven Chamber does not endorse any individual candidates, but we do believe in an informed electorate. So we hope that you find these videos useful as you are getting ready to fill out your ballot. I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors for this video series. Our presenting sponsor is Citizens Bank and Trust. Our Meet the Candidates sponsor is Spectrum. Our additional sponsors include Citrus Connection, the Hemingway Group Realtors with Crosby & Associates, John Wood Realty, and the campaign of Sam Killebrew, District 41. As I mentioned, there are two important dates for you to remember coming up in this election. On August 18th is the primary. And while there are the traditional Democrat and Republican primary races, there are also some very important local races that will be decided during that election. These include School Board, County Commission, Supervisor of Elections, and the Lake Region Lakes Management District. And of course, the second date to remember is the general election that will be held nationally on November 3rd. We hope that you will find this video series useful, and please encourage your family and friends that are eligible to vote to do so. It is our greatest right as American citizens. Enjoy. Well, Lori, thank you so much for participating in our WhistleStop Winter Haven virtual hobnob. And because you have been so gracious to purchase your booth for this event, the Florida Division of Elections does require you to make the following statement.
Paid by Lori Edwards for Supervisor of Elections campaign.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. So for our viewers that may not know you, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Sure. Well, thank you so much, Katie. I'm from Winter Haven, or I live in Winter Haven, and I have been the Supervisor of Elections for the past 20 years, and it has been a true honor and a privilege. Before that, I served for 8 years in the Florida legislature, representing Eastern Polk County in the Florida House of Representatives. During my time as supervisor, I've earned state and national accreditation in election administration. And in 2014, I was elected by my peers to be president of the Florida State Association of Supervisor of Elections.
So what are you most proud of accomplishing in your tenure as Supervisor of Elections?
Well, without a doubt, conducting more than 200 successful elections. As you can imagine, it takes a small army of very dedicated, knowledgeable, committed staff to have that type of success. So I'm very, very happy to have been a part of that. Additionally, we created and have continued a very aggressive outreach and education department there, where we don't just stay inside the office. We go out to community events more than 300 times a year. Plus, every year we go to at least 20 high schools to register and pre-register young people to vote, to pique their interest. And every year we register about 1,000 new young people during those drives in the high schools.
That's great. And so for people that might not be familiar, what is under the purview of the Supervisor of Elections? What does a day-to-day kind of look like for you as well?
Well, we have two primary responsibilities and then a lot of little things on the side. And one, of course, is conducting fair elections. And then the other is maintaining Florida's voter rolls. And to conduct elections, you have to recruit, hire, and train about 1,700 election workers. You have to program hundreds of voting machines and electronic poll books. And of course, we process the mail ballots. Just about a week ago, well, 2 weeks ago now, we sent out to Polk County voters over 100,000 vote by mail ballots. And we just get them out the door, and you know what happens? They start coming back in. So those definitely keep us busy. And then, of course, another big job is maintaining Florida's voter rolls. And we have more than 450,000 people in our database, and we do more than 1,000 transactions every single week.
Oh, wow. Wow. And that is one thing that I found interesting as I've learned more and more about the Supervisor Elections Office, or if you are looking to run for office, the amount of information that is available to you. For example, if you can come in on any day and get the list of people that requested mail-in ballots so that you can send out your, your postcards and all that stuff that we're used to getting these days. So it really is amazing the amount of information that is available for candidates running for office and really to learn about the precincts and various things of that nature that you're responsible for maintaining. So what would be your top priorities? You've talked about a lot of what you've accomplished over the last 20 years. What would be your top priorities going forward in this role?
Well, one of the most important things I can do as your election administrator is to continue to build confidence in our democracy, because sometimes it feels like that's under attack. And all you have to do is look at the news in other states all over the nation, and you can see how many things can go wrong. So it really takes a lot of specialized knowledge and attention to get that all right, to keep your team focused, and to enlist all the help from the community. So that, I would say, is first and foremost. Another thing that I'd like to work on a little bit more than I have been, and that is building better partnerships with our local colleges, because it's occurred to me that young people aren't as engaged as we would like to see, and they would make excellent election workers. And it might be that we could get some college credit or something for them, just to like open the door and get them a little interested. So that's my two main priorities.
Very good. And so if you were talking one-on-one with a voter and they asked, why should I vote for you versus the person challenging you for this seat, what would your answer be?
There's a lot of laws, federal and state laws, that you have to follow for this job. There's no question about that. And there's a lot of technology, just generally specialized knowledge. And I can definitely offer that to voters. Not only that, but it really takes a special temperament and work ethic to persist during some very high stress times. A lot of challenges, and as evidenced by COVID recently, always changing challenges. I mean, I'll tell you, this job doesn't ever get old. There's always a new kind of challenge. So I would ask voters to keep in mind my long-term commitment to this office and my record of success, and of course, ask for them to consider to vote for me for the August 18th election.
Very good. Well, as you said it right there, this race is on the August 18th ballot. So to our viewers, be sure to commit to voting on primary day. There are a lot of important races on that day, this being one of them. So Lori, thank you so much for participating in this interview. We really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.